Support for WCBU's On Deck comes from Jaguar Land Rover Peoria on Allen Road. Special offers available on nearly every new Jaguar with personalized service throughout purchasing and ownership. Jaguar, a proud luxury and performance brand. More at jaguarlandroverpeoria.com.
The Washington District Library System is a unique service for a community of Washington's size. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Monday, June 24th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, the Peoria Area Chamber of Commerce has a new CEO. WCBU's Tim Shelley has more.
Jessica Linder Gallo was hired internally by the chamber. The Morton native had spent about a year and a half as the organization's vice president of operations. Gallo says most kids probably don't dream of being a chamber executive when they grow up, but she had contact with entrepreneurship early on in life.
It just made sense for me. My parents have run a business in Morton since before I was ever a thought. I've watched my grandma own multiple businesses. My grandpa was one of the founders of Morton Metalcraft.
Gallo says growing a quality of place in Peoria and stemming population losses are priorities for her in this new position.
That's really the currency of business attraction in the modern day is what does your workforce pipeline look like and who's going to come to work for me when I locate to your community.
Both issues were identified as key to growing Peoria's business ecosystem by a consultant at an Economic Development Council event earlier this year. Gallo says the possible solutions for placemaking are varied, but they can include lighting, murals, art installations, and new special events. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Tim Shelley, with reporting by Colin Shope.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. The Bradley University chapter of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, or OLLI, provides adult learners both on and off campus learning experiences. And the state of Illinois could soon eliminate $1 billion worth of medical debt for lower-income families. Plus, the Adams Street ramp onto eastbound War Memorial Drive in Peoria will be closed early tomorrow morning for a pavement repair. You can find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. A library is often the beating heart of a community, and Washington District Library Director Lexi Walsh says it's not just about books. Over the years, libraries have grown and adapted to fill the changing needs of a developing world.
We have ebooks, we have audiobooks, we have streaming TVs and movies, we check out Rokus and hotspots and computers and projectors and all sorts of other things.
Coming out of the pandemic, many industries and services saw changes. Walsh says libraries were no different.
I'd say our door counts, like the number of people walking in the door, is still not where it used to be before COVID. People got used to accessing things online, and they haven't changed their habits back.
Patty Querum is one of those library users who has a habit of accessing her content online. She says when she had children in the house, she'd frequently visit the Washington libraries for various programs. Now she devours the district's online selection of audiobooks. When she's not frequenting library services as a patron, Querum is actually helping facilitate a library consortium across central Illinois as her job. From her perspective in the industry, the Washington system is unique for a community of its size.
And the fact that they have a branch too, that's so they're one of our big libraries. Their circulation is high, number of patrons, active patrons is high.
The branch Querum mentions is the second library location in Washington. While the first is attached to the city's Five Points building, the second is nestled in the Washington Plaza Shopping Center. That's in Sunnyland, a neighborhood sandwiched between Washington and East Peoria that touts its own unique sense of identity. Director Walsh says around 2 years ago, the library board considered shutting the branch down. The number and types of services the library provided were growing, but costs were growing as well.
Because just like everybody in their, personal budgets, things are getting more expensive, and as a tax-capped entity, our budget can only increase so much per year. It cannot necessarily keep up with inflation and the needs of our patrons. So we started looking at, can we provide all of these things and operate 2 locations?
A group of library patrons that Walsh describes as small but very vocal led to the board deciding to keep the branch open. Today, a Facebook group called Forever Our Sunnyland Library has more than 500 members. Lorena Carey is one of those Sunnyland residents that are passionate about the branch.
We got involved. We started going to board meetings. We talked to the board members. We emailed them. We did different things to try to make them aware of the fact of how important it was to continue to keep the branch open.
Sharon Watson is another patron of the Sunnyland branch. She's a senior and lives with a disability. She says the branch fills an important niche in this community.
We have a housing apartment set over here for most of the people there are disabled in some way, and they can walk to the library or they can catch a bus to the library here. They can't do that to Washington, but that keeps them involved.
Watson says increased activities at the branch following the decision to keep it open means her community has an easier way to stay involved, to get internet access, attend book clubs, and more. According to Director Walsh, foot traffic did step up for a time at Sunnyland following the possible closure, but it's leveled off a bit since then.
We're back to those levels from before. We're trying to add some unique things that we don't have at Maine. Like we added a seed library at the branch where patrons can come in and, if you need 5 tomato seeds and don't want to have to check out or buy an entire packet of them, you can get them from us.
However, Walsh says there has definitely been an increase in programming, as they've added events like a homeschooling program and a Pokemon club run by the Washington hobby store Zeke's. Carey sees a lot of value in the increased program offerings and driving attention to the Sunnyland branch.
I just really like it here, and I think it's important to keep it open because we need to keep encouraging children to read, and because readers will go on and do more things later on.
Back at the main branch, Walsh says the annual summer reading program kicked off with a carnival early this month. She estimates an attendance of as many as 700 parents and children. Now, before we let you go, tonight is the regular meeting of the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education. The meeting starts at 6:30 p.m. in the DLC boardroom of the Administration Building on North Wisconsin Avenue. Those meetings are also streamed on the district's YouTube channel. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, or Spotify.